Hey, this is Bryce and thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel, Jacket Trades. In this video, we're going to follow up with our Mitsuwa 1/16 scale RC tank. This is the Russian T34-85. So we're going to finish putting it together. We got these little detail pieces that need to be assembled to the tank, and then we'll go ahead and take it out to the yard for a spin, see how it does. I was talking a little bit more with Tom about these tanks just to kind of get some history because I was unable to find anything online about it. And basically his response that these things are ancient tanks, so I'm guessing they're probably 20 to 30 years old. So what he was telling me was back in the day, Tamiya was the only company making 1/16 scale RC tanks. And so you were either custom building tanks, or he was also telling me that the intent with these tanks was to basically take these tanks, gut them, remove all the drivetrain, and install or retrofit the Tamiya guts into these tanks. I don't know if they were successful in those intents, but that was the idea behind getting these kind of less expensive tanks and trying to implement the Tamiya hardware into them. With these tanks, I think typical for a lot of tanks is that the tracks are the weakest link. These are plastic linked tracks, and so I don't even know if we get spares. We have this kind of model of a spare. It was in this guy here. I guess we do have some spares that we could potentially put in there if we were to break a link. But that is the weakest link with these tracks, and trying to get durable scale tracks was a challenge with these tanks. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and flip the camera around and get into the build, and then we'll take it out for a drive. Thanks for watching. I do like that some of these pieces are painted. I don't like painting. Ah, that hurt. I just snagged myself with a staple. Alright, finger repaired. So we're going to get started with the turret. Alright, so this is a little recap on our experiences thus far. We went ahead and finished detailing it and we took it out for a run. The run didn't go so well. There's some issues. We've gotten more feedback on the other video. So I guess there's a local tank club where they did a group buy of these and they're going for 25 to 30 bucks, and it kind of just confirms that this is more of a toy than a hobby grade RC. So it, you know, that being said, for a toy, I'm impressed with the detail of some of these bits. This was challenging to get these little pieces glued in, and you've got some really tiny parts that were a challenge. These little cables here, I guess they're like tow cables, but they didn't give us enough wire, so one of them ended up being short, and I ended up drilling a hole and gluing it. So issues with the tank, as far as running it and kind of trying to enjoy it. It goes through batteries. Well, they put this on-off switch on the bottom, and here we can see that it's been left on, and it's easy to forget it on. And I've already killed a pack of batteries in the process of accidentally leaving it on. But also, when you're running it and you're going over rough terrain, I was having problems with the on-off switch getting caught on the terrain and actually turning itself off. That was really annoying. So I was running it in Tannenbark at my local park, and it kept turning it off. Also, I was running on dead batteries. I must have inadvertently left this on overnight, and so what I did was I swapped out the controller batteries for the car or the tank batteries. What else? The drivetrain is pretty weak. It doesn't take much to do that, what I would call stalling. And the left tread seems to do it much easier than the right tread. Also, the speeds of the treads are not equal. So if you're trying to go forward, the right tread is actually faster than the left tread, and because you don't have proportional control, it's basically on or off. You're kind of constantly blipping one or the other to try to go straight. So it's actually challenging to go straight with this. Given that this is a kind of inexpensive RC, I should just leave well enough alone, but I'm more than half tempted to make some improvements to it. And it's probably going down the rabbit hole. What I want to do is kind of open it up and see. Maybe we put in some brushless motors with speed controllers, and then I don't know what we'd do with the radio. I guess we could maybe convert it to a real RC radio or an airplane radio, where we can get more than 5 channels, or 5 channels at least. I'd also like to look at converting this battery container to take a LiPo pack. And what it might do is just like cut this out from the inside and then 3D print a battery case that I can either screw or glue to the chassis, and it'll basically accept the LiPo pack. Same thing with this radio. I'm tired of pulling 8 batteries in and out of this thing. I've done it several times. I've dropped the radio and all the batteries bounce out because this is not a very good battery door. So I think I want to cut out this tray or find a LiPo that fits in here. Basically, with 8 AA's, you're running at 12 volts. So 3S pack at 11.1 nominal should be acceptable for both radio and the tank. I'd like to maybe think about doing a new drivetrain. Actually, what I want to do right now is pop open this, take the cover off, and I want to see if it would be possible to, you know, drop in a different drivetrain. Let's keep looking in here and see what's going on. Yeah, okay. So it does have basically a slipper system built into it. This is like a spring-loaded gear that allows this to kind of slip on you if you run if something jams up the tread. And what that does is it prevents you from damaging the treads. So you have some, but I was, you know, and maybe I'm expecting too much of this, trying to drive it in tan bark. But it was kind of annoying. But at the end of the day, it's probably better to have this mechanism than to sit there and throw a tread, or to break a tread, especially since you can't get, I'm guessing it would be very difficult to get replacement tracks for this vehicle. I do have a couple in the kit here, which looks like they might be usable, but I'd rather not use those. Since this is kind of a vintage discontinued kit from the 90s. So what we might be able to do is take this apart and swap out that spring to give us a little more preload on that mechanism. But one definitely gives us more than the other. I wonder if we could see that on a scale. Alright, so I just want to check kind of the preload on this slipper system. And this is a pretty crude method, but if I push all the way down on this guy and then let back a little bit, we're about a little over 600 grams. And then if I do the same on this one, so push down and let up a little bit. We're about 500 grams. So this is about 20% more preload. That would explain the differences between the two drive tracks. Also, I think maybe there might be more friction on one of these than the other. These look like they were greased because I'm seeing dirt collected up in here. Maybe do like a dry lubricant as well to avoid collecting dirt. But now we're kind of going down the rabbit hole, right? So we're talking drivetrain, we're talking new radio gear, we're talking new suspension arms, battery box. Where does it end? Or does it end? This is essentially a toy, so it's kind of the question of how much money and time do you want to invest into it, especially since we have the Henglong Pro Grade tank sitting over there that runs flawlessly. But it's kind of the challenge of it, right? And so that's why I think I might go for the low-hanging fruit initially, just to see what I can do with minimal effort, just so I can get, you know, a good run out there without spending half my time fixing things or trying to get it back and running versus running it. Thanks for tuning in and watching. I appreciate it. If you like the video, hit that like button, and if you find yourself coming back to the channel, please subscribe. Take care and have a good one. Bye.